Hello and welcome into this special Saturday night edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. I am your lead beat writer, Kevin Hicks, for Arizona State Sun Devils on SI, and I am so grateful to be covering this wonderful Arizona State victory over Baylor in the conference opener for the Big 12. Sun Devils did their job. It wasn't always pretty, but the players that needed to make plays did just that. And a lot of aspects of the team that held them back to an extent last season were in full force in this game. And without further ado, let's get into breaking down some of the key aspects of the game, some of the key players, some of the quirks that the team faced that they didn't have last season, and a little bit of looking forward to TCU. So let's get started. So Kendrick Breedlove was playing in a starting role in relief of Montana Warren, who missed the game. He came into the week as questionable, but the prognosis never sounded promising for him. He came in and he was made an impact right away. He forced a fumble off of Baylor's Josh Cameron. That started the momentum in a positive direction for the Sun Devils, even though the offense didn't necessarily hold their end of the weight early on in the game. Javen Robinson also very much impressed. He broke up a couple of passes, including key one on fourth down. He bounced back very, very nicely from a game that he struggled in against Mississippi State just 2 weeks ago. Keyshawn Elliott is an absolute. He's a freak of nature. That's the only thing that I can say. He was flying all over the field. He broke up a pass when guarding Michael Trigg, and I kind of alluded to the fact that Elliott could be an ideal candidate to cover Trigg in certain scenarios, and he did just that, and he excelled in that. He also secured a sack. He was all over the field. He was really, really active, and he made a huge impact. CJ Fight with a massive sack on Sawyer Robertson. They ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive, but Fight put them in a position to put the game on ice much earlier than they actually ended up doing. Cyrus Fiaseu came in with a fumble recovery. Rodney Bimage Jr. had a pass breakup, nearly intercepted that pass. Really, everybody on the defensive side of the ball that needed to make plays did make plays. And even though Baylor ended up gaining over 350 yards of total offense, they had to work for every single yard they got, and they only averaged 6.4 yards per attempt. They averaged just about 5 yards per carry on the ground. They ran the ball 23 times, but one of those carries came for 41 yards by Bryson Washington. And Bryson Washington ran for 111 yards, and Baylor had 107 total rushing yards as a team. So when you do the math, they really only had 66 rushing yards on 22 attempts before that one explosive play. That's 3 yards a carry. So if you take the big plays out, they were realistically only averaging about 5 yards per play during this game. They also ended up having more penalty yards than the Sun Devils. Sun Devil fans wanted to talk about how the team has lacked discipline this season, how they lacked discipline tonight, but Baylor ended up being the bigger culprit at the end of the day. Baylor ended up falling short in the moments that they needed to come through in, and Michael Trigg did prove to be a little bit of a matchup issue. 5 receptions, 71 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But the Sun Devil playmakers ended up doing their job and then some, which sets them up for a little bit of positive momentum heading into a battle with a TCU defense that made some nice stops against SMU, but they still face a lot of challenge, a lot of question marks as well. Even with a potential NFL draft pick in Bud Clark in the center field for them. Uh, let's talk about Sam Levitt. So Sam Levitt was good, not great, for most of the game. He was great in the fourth quarter. That 61-yard pass to Derek Eusebio was one of the best throws I've seen him make all season long. That throw to Shimon Mateer, little jump pass that he made, that's just evidence of the creative playmaker that he is. The fact that he can make something out of nothing, and that's really where his bread and butter. That's really where he's been the best at over these 2 seasons at Arizona State. He didn't really get too eased into the game script again this week. Last week he did. This week he didn't as much. But when he got settled in the fourth quarter, he really got settled in. He made some incredible plays with his legs, including a 27-yard scamper that set up a touchdown drive. I believe he capped that off with a run on his own accord. And let's talk about the pass catchers. Derek Eusebio, like I said, 61-yard reception. He, for good measure, capped it off with another 17-yard reception. And then he also ran the ball twice for 11 yards. He was the 4th leading rusher on the team on the night and only 2 carries. Kanye Udo ended up taking 7 carries for 18 yards, which not the best night for Udo. I had believed that this would be a game for him to really make his mark in. But Baylor's run defense did much, much better than I anticipated, even with the thin personnel groupage they had. Their gap integrity was very good. They were very in sync. They were tackling well. They were doing a little bit of everything in that front, and they didn't do a bad job defensively. I have to give credit to Dave Aranda for that. But Shimon Mateer had another really great game. 6 catches for 55 yards, and he's really on pace to be an all Big 12 selection at this point for a second consecutive season. Jordan Tyson, not his best game, but he had the 19-yard touchdown reception that gave Arizona State the lead. He came through when he needed to. He secured that 2-point conversion to give Arizona State the 7-point lead. And Malik McClay and Cameron Harpole, they only came up with 1 catch apiece, but they were both 11-yard receptions. They both went for first downs, and there's nothing more you can ask from those guys. They really came through when they needed to. So, and I also want to talk about Kyson Brown. He came back this game, but he wasn't too active. Raleek Brown really remained the feature guy. Raleek Brown had 24 touches, and Kyson Brown only had 4 touches. But we can assume that Kyson will continue to get out there more as the week progresses. We'll see how he practices. He could be in line for a bigger role against TCU. It remains to be seen. And before we close off today's show, I wanted to talk about TCU. So the upcoming Friday matchup could have a potential wrinkle in it. Josh Hoover, the TCU quarterback, said that he is fine, but head coach Sonny Dykes of the TCU program ran the offense out on 4th and long when they were up by 11 with a minute left. Hoover got tackled and his ankle got twisted up and it looked like he was limping a little bit off of the field. He said he's fine, but that is something to monitor. Either way, TCU has a high-powered offense. Their defense has been better than anticipated, and it's going to be an absolutely massive battle at Mount America Stadium this upcoming Friday. The team that wins is really putting themselves in a strong position to challenge Texas Tech and even potentially Utah, probably Iowa State as well, for a spot in the Big 12 title game. There's still work to be done for the Sun Devils, but they're undeniably in a great position after this victory over Baylor. The win should be commended. Kenny Dillingham should be praised for how he managed the game, and Sam Levitt came through when he was needed most, and that's all you can ask for as a Sun Devil fan. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and I will see you on Monday. Thank you for tuning in.